Hey guys, Momo Guru here, and I'm going to get you started playing Codelink V2. Try to keep it short and sweet and give you just the bare minimum to get off the ground and playing as fast as you possibly can. Now keep in mind, this game is extremely complicated, it is very deep, and you can play for weeks and still discover new things. So, like I said, I'm going to keep it short and keep it sweet, and these are just the basics. As soon as you create an account, you're going to end up on a screen like this. This is your help module. It'll give you a basic starter's guide that'll walk you through some of the basics of getting going. I'm going to cover those basics in this tutorial video. If you'd like to check out the other videos, I've provided a link to the YouTube channel right here for Codelink. Alright, so let's go ahead and close that. Alright, the first thing you're going to need to do is know what the heck you're looking at. You see your desktop background is right here. We've got a connection button so you can disconnect from any server immediately. So if you're being traced, which you'll see right over here is your trace tracker, that number will count down as you're getting closer to being caught while you're doing a hack. If that number gets to 0, you're busted and you pay a fine. Right next to that is your CPU taskbar. It'll give you a readout of all the programs you currently have running. Over here at the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see a bunch of icons that basically let you get access to the plugins and various components on your gateway. And over here on the bottom right, you have your memory bar. There's lots of options and lots of stuff, but I'm going to jump right in. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is upgrade your hardware. But before you can upgrade your hardware, you might want to go take a loan out from the bank. So let's do that first. Let's go over here and check out the GPS module. The GPS module will load all the servers that are available on that satellite network. And if you want to not have to mouse over each one, just click the database view. It'll give you a little spreadsheet view of all the servers there. And you are going to go to a bank. So let's jump on Concourse Bank and hit the connect button. Once you land on the bank page, you're going to be able to take out a loan. And the way that loans work is you're going to get $10,000 in credit per level. So if you've upgraded 3 or 4 levels, you might want to go get a little bit more money. However, be careful. The loans will bite you in the ass if you're not careful. Alright, so we land here on Concourse and we want to go to Bank Accounts and we're going to create a new account. So I click the New button and I'm going to enter in my name, Momo. As soon as I hit Register, you'll notice that my blinking email down here, along with my welcome message, I now have an email from Concourse Bank with all my login information. I want to go and take out a loan, so I click the loan button, and I want a new loan, and I'm going to request all the money that is available for that loan. So I request a new loan. There we go. You see, I now have $10,100 in the bank. I've got the $10,000 I just borrowed, plus the $100 that I must keep in the account to keep it active. And I want to withdraw that money. I'm going to take my $10,000 out. Withdraw. Alright, so now I've got a little bit more money. I've got my $50,000 plus the $10,000 I just borrowed. You are allowed to take a loan out on every bank in the game. So if you want to keep going, you can scroll down to Gold Star Bank. And I think there's another one on here maybe, or not. Okay, so now I want to go ahead. We'll take a look at our money here in our agent profile module. Open up the agent profile. You'll see your name, your IP address, how much money you've got, your missions complete, violations aborted. This stuff is pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to go through it all. But if you go into the financial overview, you can see my bank accounts are listed and my current loans. The loan fee is $200. That means every time I log into the game, I am going to be charged $200 for the loan. That money does not come off your loan. So as long as you've got a loan, you're going to keep paying loan fees. So make sure you pay your debts, fellas. Alright, let's close that up. We've got some money now. Let's go shopping. Alright, we are going to want to upgrade our hardware first. If you try to go and buy software at Momo Guru Software Emporium, you're going to run out of disk space and you're going to find some limitations and hardware conflicts. So the first thing we're going to do is double click on Kilo's Hardware Depot, and this will dump us into a shop that will let us upgrade our hardware. So let's take a look at what hardware we have while that loads. And right here you can see, scoot this over to the side, you can see we've got the bare bones minimum. You can unplug all of these little components and your program will still work. Your gateway will still work. It will crawl at the slowest pace possible. So we're going to want to go ahead and upgrade some of that. So I recommend you start with the motherboard because we don't have a lot of room to plug other things in. So go into motherboards and let's buy ourselves something decent. We could spend $9,000 on the CM-Tron 2. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and purchase and install, and you will notice that my hardware will now open up more plug-in slots. Alright, so before I can plug in anything else, I'm going to need power to give some juice to all of these different components, and right now I only have 25 power free. So go over here and we are going to scroll down and look for something decent that doesn't cost too much. Let's say the lithium power cell. That'll give us another 1400 output. Go ahead and purchase and install. If you don't want to install it immediately, you can uncheck the auto install box and those items will pop down here into the extra hardware. Alright, now we've got a power supply. Let's go ahead and upgrade our modem. And to prevent the dinging on these emails, I'm just going to delete them real quick. Alright. Okay, so now we've got the modems. Let's go ahead and purchase a rank 3 standard modem. And then I think we're going to head down into memory. Now memory is going to allow us to install multiple programs onto our memory bar. There are multiple memory bars. You can get 3 stacks of these. So for now we're just going to buy a little standard RAM. No, nothing too expensive. Don't spend all your money on hardware upgrades. You're going to need to buy software. CPU. Alright, we want our computer to run a little bit faster so these progress bars start speeding up a little bit. So let's go ahead and jump in and get the Intel X200. We'll go ahead and purchase and install that one. If you are getting a hardware conflict and you're determined that you do want to buy that hardware and you're going to modify your system or reconfigure it, you can just uncheck that auto install box. And finally, we're going to jump into hard disks. This is going to give us a lot more room on our file manager. Let's go down here and you know, we're going to push it a little bit. We're going to go for the Mega Drive. I think that's going to let us go ahead and get a little bit of extra space to get these programs that we want. And you can see now we've got our system upgraded. All right, now that the system is upgraded, go ahead and close your hardware and we are going to disconnect from Kilos and double click on Momos. Now it's time that we buy some software. The software we're going to use is going to help us perform the missions that were given by the Codelink agency. Alright, so we land on Momos here. We'll go ahead and close our GPS out of the way and jump into the software menu. Alright, the first kind of programs we're going to buy, and as we're buying programs, let's go ahead and open up our file manager. So you can see we've got 5 programs pre-installed on our brand new gateway. I want to put these in a folder, so I'm going to click Add New Folders, and I'm going to call the folder Programs, if I can spell it right. There we go. Hit Add. Now I got a folder. Drag these files into the folder, just like so. And you can jump into the folder and back out of the folder the same way. Alright, jump into System Apps on the Codelink browser. And you can see we've got 11 items here just for System Apps. Some of these programs we already have, like the video player and the MP3 player and the file killer and the file copier. We are going to want to purchase a log killer. That's a very important program. That's going to help us prevented from getting caught after we do a hack. Because not only do you have the active trace, you also have a passive trace where the law enforcement authorities will slowly climb backwards through the logs trying to make their way to your gateway. If they get to your IP address, you get busted, you get fined, you pay the price. Alright, so now that we got a log killer, we're going to jump back into the main software menu and we are going to purchase a version 1 password cracker. You can go for version 1 or version 2. I think we might have enough money for a version 2. No, we've only got 14,000 left. Let's take it easy and get the Gangsta Cracker 2. So we're going to go ahead and purchase that. Go back to the software menu. We're going to get a proxy bypasser because we're going to need one of those. And let's go for the simple proxy bypasser. And jump back into the software menu and let's see if there's anything else we absolutely have to have. There's a lot of programs and lots of cool stuff, but I think this is good enough just to get going. So let's go ahead and close that, and now we're ready to do our first mission and make some money. But before we do, we need to install some programs. We're definitely going to need a log killer, so let's drag that down into our memory bar. You'll notice that this box pops up and you've got a little abort if you want to cancel. You can also close the box if you want to cancel. But if you want to hide the box and let the program install in the background, just click the little check. And you'll notice that when the program is finished installing, it will pop up down here in our memory bar. So let's go ahead and install the password cracker. And you can also install by pressing the install button after you've selected one of your installation packages. It will do the exact same thing as the drag and drop to the memory bar. Once you have something installed on your memory bar, you can move it around. You can organize these and put them how you want. But for purposes of keeping this tutorial short, to delete a program, just drag this small X on top of it. You see, you drag in the tiny little X in the corner on top of the box that you want to delete the program from memory. Over here, you're going to see how much disk space you have, and you're also going to see your memory overview, which is showing you how much memory you've used and how much you have available. This is important. You can install programs that are going to require more memory than what you have available. And lastly, let's go ahead and see if we can get this proxy cracker on there. So we're going to drag that over there, because before we start doing missions, we're going to want to make sure that we're bouncing through a safe point so that we can later return to that point and remove the log file. Now keep in mind that logs are persistent, so other players may be removing your logs for you by using programs like a logbot. Alright, so now we've got a log killer, a password cracker, and a proxy bypasser. We're good to go. Let's go ahead and drop these programs into my nice little folder and close our file manager. Alright, now that we've covered the basics, let's go ahead and do our first mission. The way that you get missions in Codelink is by going to your agent profile module and clicking upon the mission server. This will randomly generate various missions of various mission types. There are over 90 missions in the game, and they're based on the level that you currently are. So level 1 guys are going to get the cheapo, simple, crap work missions, and level 50 guys are going to get the database edits and the hacking and hijacking servers. Alright, the first kind of mission that we want to do is remove a public file. So you can request new missions until you find a mission that says remove a public file. So there we go, we've got one on Duster. So let's click that. In the mission report, it gives you a little description about this training mission, and then it gives you the mission objectives. We are going to locate the target file, 98E 3DB payroll database, and it's located on the duster.corp server. Let's accept that mission. Once the mission is accepted, you're going to get an email with the same mission information, and you're also going to get a little warning that tells you got 24 hours to complete the mission. Alright, let's go ahead and close the mission server, and let's take a look at Duster. Open up your GPS module, let the servers load, click into the database view, and scroll down here until you find the server that you're looking for. It might not be the Duster server if you're doing these missions. It could be on any of the lower level servers. You'll see that Duster is only level 14, so it's perfect for new players. Let's go ahead and connect to that. Once we connect to this private access terminal, the browser will automatically launch, and we will be able to see what Duster looks like. Hey, look at that, it's a gallery. Alright, so we scroll down here to public records, and let's open up our email and take a look at these mission objectives. Scroll down right there to mission objectives, and we can scoot that over to the side. Alright, now since we're removing a file, I'm going to need to install my file killer. So let's jump over here into the file manager, go into your programs, and the file killer is the first file on your file manager that comes preloaded onto your gateway. Alright, once the file killer is installed, we're going to jump back over here and we're going to look for 98E3DB. So the best way to do this is just look for those first 3 digits first. There's 98B. No, we're looking for 98E, and it's in alphabetical order. There's 98B, 98C, 98D, 98E. All right, so it's somewhere starting in here. And the last 3 digits are 3DB. So I'm looking for a 3DB, and there it is, the payroll database. So to remove the file from the public file server, all you need to do is take your file killer that you have installed on your memory bar, click it, and drag it onto the file. There you go. And once it's targeted correctly, you want to check that file, make sure you got the right one, click the delete button. Now the time in which it takes for these files to delete is going to be based on the hardware of your system. So as you upgrade, things go faster and faster and faster. Alright, the file's been removed. If you want to scroll down, you'll see that it's not there. And you know you've deleted it because now there's only 99 items instead of 100. So we have technically completed our mission objectives. So let's go ahead and close the browser. Even though we're still connected, you'll notice the disconnect gateway button is blinking red, reminding you you are currently connected to the server. And we're going to reply to this email, and we're going to say done. And there we go. We have completed our first mission. Mission complete. There's some money for you, and that's how you make money in the game. Let's take it to the next level. We're going to do a hack that actually commits a crime. Now these are the missions that'll get us in trouble, so we're going to want to make sure that we hide our origin. And the way that we do that is by using proxy bounces. There's a free one right here on the Codelink orientation server. So go ahead and double click on that and jump into that server, and we're going to get access to a proxy, which will allow us to hide our origin of our original IP address. So once you jump into the Codelink orientation server, go ahead and click public proxy, and then click the public proxy button. It gives you a little warning. You say, yeah, whatever. And now you've bounced through your connection from your gateway into the Codelink orientation server. So now anywhere you go from there, it looks like you're coming from the Codelink ORS. So what we're going to do is save that proxy route. And the way that you do this is while you are connected to the proxy, you click one of these 9 buttons, which are your bounce route manager slots, and you're going to click one and hit the save. So now you can see that I have a route saved on bounce number 1. So let's go ahead and test this out. Now you can disconnect and just press number 1 and it will automatically load that proxy or any other proxies that are listed in that chain without you having to visit the server again. Keep in mind though, it does leave logs on every single computer you bounce through, every time you make a connection. All right, now that we're hiding our IP address, let's do a real mission where it's going to cause a trace. So we jump back into our agent profile module, go ahead and click the mission server, and we're going to look for something like delete employee file. And look at that, first try, delete employee file. Now this one is going to require that we use the password cracker to crack into the employee area so that we can access the file server. But keep in mind, the employee file server is going to be protected by a firewall, so we may need to purchase another program, a firewall cracker. Well, there's no sense of us going back to this mission, so let's go ahead and accept the mission now so that we can hold on to it. And if you click your Active Missions tab, you'll see that you've got the Delete Employee File mission all ready to go, and I've got 23 hours and 59 minutes to complete the mission. All right, go ahead and close the Agent Profile module, and let's jump back over to Momo's software shop real quick and pick us up a firewall cracker. Now, we might not have enough memory to install all of these programs at once, so open your file manager and take a look at how much you've got left. And you can see we've only used 42% with the upgrades that I've done to my gateway. So I'll jump into the software menu, I'll head over to the firewall crackers, and I'll purchase a simple one. Firewall bypass, confirm and purchase. Now all I need to do is install it. Drag it from the file manager to the memory bar. Once it's done installing, it will pop up down here and you'll be good to go. And in the meantime, I'm going to tuck that program away in my folder where it belongs. All right, the firewall cracker will pop up down here any second now. And while that's getting ready, we know we're going to need to go to stealdata.corp. Keep in mind, I'm still bouncing through the Codelink orientation server. You can look on the global view. I went from the gateway to ORS, down here to Momo's, but now we're going to change that connection from the gateway to ORS, but we're going to go to stealdata.corp, which is what our mission tells us is the target server. So let's see, delete employee file. Let's scoot this over to the side and scroll down to our mission objectives. The target server is StealData, and the file we're looking for is 643C0E form restore. All right, so now we're going to find the StealData Corp. I'll just type in Steel up here and hit search. There we go. Double click that, and let's go ahead and connect to StealData. All right, now that we've connected to the private access terminal, we're going to need to crack into the employee login area. And you can see that the employee login area has a password cracker security on there. So we're going to have to use our password cracker to bust through this security. And if you look over here, it's a level 37, which is fairly weak, perfect for new players. So here's how these crackers work. Every single cracker has its own little mini game. You can see there's the password cracker, there's the proxy cracker, there's the firewall cracker. So these little mini games are going to help boost the speed at which these crackers work. And the speed at which the amount of boost you get for playing these mini games is based on the version of software. So when you buy better versions of software, it's going to make playing the mini game go a lot faster. So let's go ahead and close these because we don't need them just yet. And we are going to commit a crime. Now, as soon as this password cracker busts through this security checkpoint, it's going to take a few minutes to get going. But as soon as it busts through the security checkpoint, you're going to notice up here in the upper right-hand corner where it says inactive, that's going to start a trace. And all of a sudden, that word inactive is going to change to some numbers. As those numbers count down, you're going to hear little beeps warning you that you're being traced and that you've committed a crime. And if you stay connected to that server until that number reaches 0, you will get busted and you will be forced to pay a fine. So we want to try to avoid all that at all costs. Now, the way the little mini game works is you've got these 1s and 0s scrolling across, right? Well, every time you click a 1, it adds to the program buffer, which speeds up, in this case very slowly because it's only a version 1 program, but it does speed up that progress bar. So click as many ones as you can, and be careful that you don't click the zeros. Clicking a zero does the exact opposite. It's going to set you back. And at higher levels, when you really start to upgrade your system, the mini games become somewhat obsolete. You can still do them and they still give you a boost. It's just you really don't need to because the crackers are so damn fast on their own. Alright, we're about to crack through, and as soon as we break that security, I've got 158 seconds to do what I'm going to do and disconnect. So here we are. We are now in the employee main menu area, and you can see right here we've got the file servers. So let's go ahead and jump into the file servers. In our mission, it says that we need to get into the employee file server. So you can see the first link here is employee file server 1. Let's go ahead and click that, and we are presented with another security checkpoint. We need to crack that firewall to get in. I've got 1 minute and 29 seconds left, and I've got my firewall cracker down here. Let's drag that on top and hit start. As the firewall cracker is going, you can see I've got a codex. It says A1, B2, B1, A2. So I type that in right here. A1, B2, B1, A2. And it boosts the level again. You can also put your text cursor in there and type the next codex, B1, A2, C2, B3. And you keep doing that to boost your firewall cracking program. And like I said before, the better versions of the program you get, the faster these boosts are going to work. And eventually you'll get to a point where your hardware is so fast that you don't even have to play the mini games at all. It basically gives you something to do while you're waiting for these slow progress bars. And you can see cracking that cost me a few seconds. I'm already down. I've got 79 seconds to complete this mission. I'm looking for 643C0E form restore. And there it is right there in the middle. I need to remove that file. So what I'm going to do is take my file killer and drag it right onto the program and hit delete. And once the program is complete, I can't go navigating away from the browser. I cannot close the browser. It will not complete the mission properly. So as soon as the file is deleted, it refreshes the page. I can now get out of here. I close everything and I disconnect. All right, we're safe for the time being. However, we did leave some logs behind that lead back to our gateway. So now what we do is we go back into the GPS module, load up that first bounce, that Codelink orientation server that we bounced through, because as far as Steal Data is concerned, it was someone that was based off of the Codelink orientation server, not my gateway. So all I need to do is go into the log files and remove that log that shows that I've accessed that server via a proxy. Now, you may notice that your log might not be there. And the reason your log isn't there is because you are in a world of many players. And these players are running log bots and various log killing programs on the Codelink orientation server all the time, kind of as a favor to protect people. And you can see right here, there we go, we've got some more logs popping up. And you can sit here and refresh these and watch watching the logs get refreshed and deleted. You'll also notice other user IP addresses. They're doing the same thing you are. All right, so we've cleared our logs, we've completed our mission objectives. We're going to hop back down into the email, send them a friendly email saying, hey, we're done. Hit reply, I'll type in done, and send. All right, we've now completed our first criminal mission. As you complete these missions, your experience will rise, your level will grow, and more missions will become available to you. And the types of missions that become available will get more and more difficult, requiring you to buy new software, faster programs, better hardware, and eventually you'll get to a point where you're actually attacking the servers themselves, trying to weaken them down so that your password crackers and the various other security crackers work a lot faster. All right, that is about as basic as it's going to get started playing Codelink. Now, like I said, this game is extremely complex and there's a lot to learn. You could play for weeks and still find new things that you didn't know you were able to do. So I highly recommend taking the time after you've gotten into the game, and if you're the kind of person that enjoys critical thinking and the types of games where nobody's going to hold your hand and walk you through it. If you're the kind of guy that wants to play a game where you got to have your hand held, Codelink is not for you. Just go ahead and log out now. All right, this is Momo Guru signing off, and have fun playing Codelink, guys.